Hey everyone, welcome back. This is my 2024 Honda Civic Touring, finished in a Sonic Gray Pearl. Been meaning to make this video for quite some time now. I bought this back in December to replace my 2019 Ram 1500 Bighorn with the Hemi, and I have zero regrets. In this video, I'm going to be giving you kind of the ownership first impressions review on it, on what it's been like to live with the past 3 months. It has like 2,800 miles on it. I got it with 100. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. You do get 18-inch wheels. I don't particularly care for these at all. We'll kind of get into that in the driving dynamics. They look nice, but the sidewalls are super thin. The ride is a little bit compromised because of that. It's super loud on the inside. Still quieter than my 2019 Accord that I had with 19-inch wheels. When these tires wear out, I plan on probably replacing these with 16s. Pretty decent amount of leg room back here for a smaller car. I'm 6 foot. The driver's seat is in my position. These back seats are super comfortable. You do get a mat pocket over here and a couple USB ports. No rear vents, but this car's small enough, it doesn't matter. I've had passengers back here. They don't complain that they're too hot or too cold. Couple cup holders back here. Like I said, the passengers back here have had zero complaints about the comfort and leg room and headroom and all that stuff. I got about an inch of headroom back here, and it's just perfectly adequate. I do love the dash on this. It looks very nice, very slick. When I first reviewed one of these, I just fell in love with the design of this car. It does have a sunroof too. Very nice sunroof, by the way. Doesn't buff it very much. Doesn't have very much wind noise when you're going down the road. You can actually enjoy it. Back here in the trunk, it has gas shocks to open the trunk lid. So that's super nice when you can open it with a key fob or just hit the button and you're, have a armful of groceries. You don't have to pry the trunk open yourself. It's very nice. You can also fold down the seats. It is kind of a small pass-through, so keep that in mind if you get one of these. You might want to measure the pass-through if you're trying to store stuff back there. And you do get a spare tire, which is nice to see. It does have a grab handle here, so you can just close it without touching the paint, which is super nice. Under the hood here is a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder mated to a CVT automatic transmission. Makes about, I think 180, 185 horsepower. It's pretty peppy. It's good enough for what I needed to. It's not slow by any means. There's tons of room to work in here. It's pretty easily accessible. Batteries there, air filters there. All your fluids are easily accessible. Underneath, to do an oil change, it's pretty easy to, get under there and service your car if need be. It's just pretty simple in today's standards for a vehicle. So no complaints here. Honda nailed the styling of this 11th generation Civic. I think it's one of the best looking sedans on the road today. As I may have hinted earlier, I had a 2019 Accord. My Accord was a 2.0T Sport, and I honestly have more fun in this than my Accord. And it just seems a lot more nimble, a lot more fun to throw around. It is a very nice car. The only complaints that I have is a couple of the body panels are a little bit misaligned. If you notice here on this side, it just kind of is peeking out from the, rest of the car. And if I go over on this side, it's flush. It's not that big of a deal. This does run regular 87 octane. I put 93 in it. Because I can. It's super cheap to run. I've been getting really good fuel economy in this car. Do have LED turn signals as well integrated in the mirrors, LED headlights and fog lights as well. Let's go ahead and check out the driver's seat here. You get your power windows, power locks, power seat here. Fully digital gauge cluster here. Really nice infotainment there, dual zone automatic climate control, wireless charger, tons of connectivity. It has wireless Android Auto, wireless CarPlay. That works pretty darn well. You got a couple of cup holders here, as well as a nice center console. This little Easter egg here, if you turn this underneath, it says the Civic history goes on. Pretty darn cool. Decent sized glove box over here as well. Illuminated visor mirrors that pull out and extend. Perfect sunglasses holder, auto dimming rearview mirror with home link. You know, like I said earlier, the sunroof. These seats are heated as well. You wouldn't want to be in this car for more than 2 to 3 hours without getting out and stretching. There is a little bit of lack of lumbar support back here. You do feel a little bit of fatigue, but these are far from the least comfortable seats I have ever been in. All right, let's go ahead and take this for a spin. Do get a pretty nice backup camera as well. I have this car set to turn on the parking brake every time I shut off the car, which is pretty nice. CVTs can be a little fragile. Transmissions are not kickstands either. It's recommended to always use a parking brake when your car is in park. So just a little tidbit there for you guys. As we set off here, there is a rattle that I cannot seem to track down, and it comes and goes. Can't quite pinpoint it. But that's the only one that I've had as far as rattles go in here. Other than that, everything's been perfectly fine. It sounds like it's coming from this area. One thing you will notice right off the bat is the road noise and cabin intrusion NVH is pretty high. These 18-inch wheels don't really help the ride at all, and it's kind of a letdown. I don't know why manufacturers need to put rubber band wheels on cars. Like I said, I definitely have plans to put 16s on it. That'll kind of quiet it down and make for a much smoother ride. The ride itself isn't super harsh. They did a pretty decent job dampening Northeast Ohio potholes, but it could be improved. I think I measured it on the highway. It's about 72 to 75 decibels at 70 miles an hour, and that's quite a bit. It's pretty loud. My 2019 Accord was much louder than that with 19s, but this is an improvement, but still they could do better. This does have an auto start stop system as well. I like it because you can choose whether to start or stop. You can either idle stop temporarily interrupted, fully press brake to engage, and I do, and it shuts off. You can choose when to auto start stop. You can also completely disable it down here as well, which is super nice. First gen Pilot in front of us. That's pretty cool. See some of those on the road. Man, as far as handling goes, I really enjoy the handling of this car. It sticks to the road pretty nicely. If you're an enthusiast driver, the steering is perfectly weighted. It's not too stiff, but it's not too floaty. It doesn't have no steering feel at all. This is definitely one of the best sedans on the road today. You have blind spot monitoring in the mirrors as well. It's one of my favorite things about this car too is the amount of visibility you get in here. The pillars are super thin. There's no real blind spots when you look around. It's just an overall easy car to live with and drive. I do like the fact that I can still see the hood. It kind of reminds me of my truck. Or even my Crown Vic that I have. It's not quite as long as the Crown Vic, obviously, but it is kind of cool to see the hood. I hate, I hate the hoods that kind of just slope in front. You can't see kind of where your car's at in front of you. All right, we'll do a little entrance ramp acceleration. Floor it. Decent amount of power. So we're on the highway here. This does have Honda sensing that works extremely well. You do get your lane keep assist and adaptive cruise control. Keeps you centered in your lane pretty nicely. Occasionally it will hug the left side of the lane, but for the most part it does a pretty decent job. As you can hear now, probably the road noise is significant here at 70 miles an hour. I would do a stereo test on these 12 speaker Bose that this car comes equipped with, since it's a touring model. but I'm afraid that if I do that, the audio is going to be too bad because it's so loud in here already. It's just going to clip out the audio. So we'll do a stereo test here at the end of the video when we park the car. It's really cool when you're just navigating down the highway and it picks up cars and stuff, that it shows the car in the gauge cluster there. It'll even decipher from semis and stuff as well. And as we're coming up to this slower vehicle here, it does a pretty good job of, keeping its good distance and not, slamming on the brakes. I'm going to go ahead and shoot around here. Let the car do its thing. See, there's a semi that shows up on the gauge cluster. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's pretty cool that it, can decipher what vehicle it is. Well, let's talk fuel economy. Currently, I'm getting 35.2, but this has been the review. It's kind of been sitting and stuff. But over the past 2,844 miles, I've been averaging 34.6. I only have a 5-minute commute to work, so most of my driving is sort of city. I think that's pretty good. It's a lot better than my Ram was getting. That's the reason why I bought this, is to get way better fuel economy. And, it definitely delivers, that's for sure. This weekend, I traveled with my wife to go, across the state a little bit, and, I get 40 miles a gallon out of this. Really enjoy wireless CarPlay here. Haven't really had any issues with it. I know some people with their Civics were having issues, getting everything to connect. But I've been pretty fortunate, I guess, to say that it works flawlessly. I used to be pretty anti wireless CarPlay, and just because it didn't work very well and the sound quality wasn't as great. But it's improved in recent years. I really can't tell a difference between wired and wireless CarPlay. Let's talk about overall drivability. This has the CVT. Everybody hates CVTs. I actually don't care. I think it's a great transmission. Honda and Toyota make the best CVTs in the industry, and I don't particularly have an opinion on this one. It's great. It does have a little bit of the rubber band effect. It's not terribly bad. It's super smooth. It's super efficient. It does drone a little bit. Cause the engine to drone a little bit, but it's an economy car. Time will tell whether it holds up or not. All Hondas and Toyotas that have CVTs, I think, hold up pretty well. So I ain't too concerned. You just got to change the transmission fluid every 30K. But I don't see why everybody, fusses about them. Yeah, there's a few bad eggs out there, but I don't think they're as bad as people make it out to be. Man, I just love throwing this into some corners. It is really fun. You just point the steering wheel where you want to go, and it just goes. So nimble. No real complaints with the engine. Great power. Sips fuel. No real turbo lag. The CVT complements it well. Keeps it within the power band that it needs to be at. I love this digital gauge cluster. It's customizable. You can choose between a bars on the sides, customize display, gauge design. You can do bars, and there's 2 different bars on each side. I don't particularly care for the look of that. I think it looks kind of goofy. I'll just stick to my round gauges that are more traditional. NC, fuel economy, average speed, seat belts, oil life. You can do whatever you want. On the left side, it just shows Apple CarPlay or entertainment things. You can also set the right side to at least show nothing, but the left side you can't set it to do that, which is kind of annoying. I wish you could, not have anything on either side, so it's a little bit less distracting, but it is what it is. That was about 50% throttle, and it just gets right up to speed nicely. I don't really like to push this thing. You know, I know CVTs are fragile, and I'm sure this one would be fine. But, you know, this is just a commuter. It's not a race car. I'm not just going to be flooring it at every single chance I get. It putzes around just fine. This does have onboard navigation as well. I never use it because Apple CarPlay exists, and I just think it's great. But you have the capability to use the onboard navigation if you wanted to. You know, overall, this infotainment is very responsive, very nice. No complaints here at all. I love this car. You know, I plan on hanging on to this car for a very, very long time. And, you know, run it until it blows up. I think it's got all the features you could ask for in a package that is relatively affordable and attainable for the common person to afford. You know, in a world of $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 vehicles, you know, that you got to keep up with the Joneses, I think this does everything that those things can just as well. And, you know, you're coming in at thousands of dollars less. So let's see what MPG we were getting on this trip. 36.8, with me pushing it pretty hard on the highway too, and you know, giving it some beans. That's not bad. This thing just sips fuel. You know, I've test driven all of them, the Mazda 3, the Toyota Corolla. I think this is the most fun you can have for this class. All right, I think I'm going to end the video right here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Plan on doing a review every 5,000 miles to keep you guys posted on any issues that come up or anything that, you know, I find throughout my ownership experience. So be sure to stay tuned on that. Please be sure to like the video. It pushes the video out to other people so the algorithm picks it up and, you know, does its thing. Please be sure to subscribe too to stay posted on the Civic and the CRV that I have. You know, I've been kind of interchanging the POV ownership experiences with this, so definitely stay tuned for that. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Paul's Place YT for some additional content behind the scenes, and we'll go ahead and see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Let's go ahead and do a quick stereo test of this 12-speaker Bose sound system. All right, let's go to the next track. I have zero complaints. This stereo system is great. I give it probably a high C tier, low B tier rating. It's not by far the best I have ever tested. It is excellent for this price point. You won't be disappointed at all.